I'll tell you what I do. I won't tell you what everybody should do, what I do. In 2 hours, I can teach you translation memory software. MateCat, WordFast, free online, cheap, easy, 2 hours. 2 hours, I'll teach you post-editing of machine translation. And another 2 hours, I'll do pre-editing of text to go through machine translation. 6 hours, you have translation technology. Easy. It's not rocket science. And all the students that we have are all using machine translation anyway to cheat on their homework. They know what it is. They're doing it. They know it better than we do, or people of my generation. So, yes, everybody should have that. And then I have an elective course for people who are really going to go into industry, and that's where I do MemSource and Trados and sophisticated content management systems and project management. But the trick is this. Only a third of our students across the world, I've looked at statistics, all the statistics that have been done on where our graduates go. A third of the graduates of master's programs become translators or interpreters. They need those technologies, no doubt about it. The other 2/3 do many, many wonderful things with their languages, some of them much more lucrative, much more creative, and they're very happy. And I'm happy to train them as well. They will get that basic training so they know what it is. It's not going to hurt them. But I'm not going to pretend that everybody, all our students in front of us, all of them need complete courses in translation technology. That's not the case. It's not the case according to the studies I've been looking at. It's not the case according to where my students go. Sorry to disappoint.
Perfect.
Thank you. That's a very, very good question. And it depends so much on where you are and what the actual market needs happen to be. In Melbourne, where I currently work, we need community interpreters because we have 260 languages spoken at home, and we don't have enough people to get in there and get messaging across about social services. It's a part of our identity. Very, very different from the kind of identity construction that you're engaged in. So there, it depends on looking at the market and seeing what's used. Some countries use lots of consecutive. Others use lots of simultaneous. Some have a big need for legal work in the courts. Others, much less. The point that interests me, though, in respect to what's just been said, is that I think that everybody who's studying translation should have a chance to do lots of spoken work. And it should be the basis. That there should be lots of, everybody should try simultaneous, everybody should try consecutive, and there should be lots of reporting on projects and debate, because orality is the thing that is needed at the top levels of all the sectors where our graduates go. So I go through lists of the jobs that all the graduates get, and I can see that most of them are using language that is spoken language. Even people like me, you know, I studied literature. Everything was the written word. I did linguistics of the written word. Look where it got me. I'm speaking. Yeah? When I speak with people in the language industry in Europe, at the moment, there's a discourse of the talent shortage. We don't have enough good people, they're saying, for that particular market. And so I ask, well, what are you looking for? People with great teamwork, great interpersonal relations, and great capacity to communicate with clients. Oral, spoken work. So yes, train people in interpreting. Usually the model is everybody comes in to do common core stuff, and then conference interpreting goes over there, translation goes over there, and in Monterey we would have localization and project management as a third thing. I think that's wrong. I think the orality, the spoken work should be at the beginning for everybody. And the other advantage is when people speak their translations, they automatically break with primitive literalism. They break with the tendency to follow the start text, sentence by sentence or phrase by phrase. When you have to speak it, you naturally adapt it to the new situation. So there are pedagogical and social reasons for getting your students to speak. I have designed a few, and I've evaluated many, many more. And the standards come from what the stakeholders require. This is needs analysis 101. What your institution wants, financially and in terms of employment and research prestige. What industry wants, and how much industry can absorb of the graduates. By the way, I agree very much. Serious training is at master's level. BA training is great fun, great way to learn cultures and languages, but I'm talking about master's level here. So, your institution, the employer, and then I ask my students when they come in, what do you want to know about translation? You can ask 3 questions. Only one concerns money, because they all ask, how can I get rich? Only one. And then they ask, will machines take away my work? So there's great fear there. So in sorting out what to do, I look at those, and then I look at where the graduates go in previous years. Now, standards concerns the people going into industry, and I can meet that, but I know that only a third are going there. And I have an ethical obligation to all the rest, to give them serious communication skills in several languages that can be used in many, many sectors. A third go into teaching. Whether we like it or not, we're training translators, but they finish up being teachers. Give them the skills that they can use there to do a better job at that. And the other third go into wonderful, creative things. So I think the question is well-intentioned, but we can be too restrictive if we only focus on the standards of one particular industry. I don't think that is serving us well, and I think if you look at statistics on graduate employment, seriously, you will see that there are very few institutions that have that kind of fixed, or can afford to have a kind of fixed orientation on industry standards, that we're training just for these people and not for the rest.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
The second question is incredibly interesting because sometimes you have to read between the lines, because in these documents that we get, there are many different voices, many stakeholders, as I was saying, and you have to try to see what is the main purpose of this program? What is it trying to achieve? And are these objectives written clearly? And from there, what happens is you locate inner contradictions. You locate incompatibilities, or you can see that the same thing is being done in 2 or 3 different places. And so the reports that I produce are often based on those internal contradictions. From the outside, we cannot come into an institution and say, this is what you should do. One could recommend, perhaps, or suggest, but the institutions have decided what they're on about and the market they want to serve and how the finances are going to work and things like that. So I can't go into all of that. A lot of it is seeking more clarity, and where there's clarity, the contradictions become apparent. Get rid of the contradictions, you will get a better program, I think.